are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you for asking. So I just wanted to first say thank you for coming in today. I wanted to discuss your child Alex's test scores. I know this can be a lot, so if at any point you have any questions, just feel free to stop me. There's no such thing as a silly question. So today we're going to go over the Scholastic Test of Achievement.
Did she not do well on it? Was there something wrong with her scores?
No, not at all. I just called you in so we can go over the scores together because, like I said, this is a lot of information and I know it can be confusing looking at it for the first time. I wanted to go over the different concepts in here and some of the words might be not familiar with. So up here you can see that we have my name, the school, the district, Alex's name, the grade level that Alex is in, and then the test date. And the test date, this was not all taken in one day, that's a lot, but it was all broken up within several days. And then here we have is the student ID, and this is just so that Alex is, all of Alex's information is kept confidential. And then your child Alex took this about a month ago, and this test is just something that measures their progress up to this point and their skills in different content areas. And every student takes this test during the springtime just to see how us teachers are doing and how Alex is doing and how we go about teaching different curriculum and the different strategies, making sure that we're doing good. And up here, this is the norm reference information, and this just gives us information on how a student scores compared with other students in a norm group. And then down here really quickly is the criterion referenced information, and this just tells us how a student performs on specific standards or objectives.
Okay, so can you tell me what a norm group is?
Yeah, so a norm group is made up of 10,000 students who are the same age and the same grade level as Alex, and they're across the nation. They took this test, and this just allows us to compare Alex's scores. Now, looking at this list, do you see any subtests or subcategories that you might not understand?
Can you just go over basic battery and complete battery?
Yeah, so complete battery is the total number of subtests, numbered items put together. And so the complete battery here we can see is 390. And then the basic battery is the total of all the subtests, but without the science and the social studies. And here you can see that that's 330. And we mainly try and focus on reading and mathematics because this helps us. Without that, I mean, we can't do well in science and social studies when it comes to reading and all that. So we focus mainly on those two subjects. And this just allows us to see basic battery and complete battery separated from one another. Is there any subtests on here that you want me to go over with you?
Probably spelling because we practice a lot in the car.
Okay, yeah, so that's great. I'm just going to put this right here so we can focus on just spelling and go across. If we look at all these subtests here, though, we can see the math and the reading again, and the science and the social studies, and then along with all of Alex's scores and the information. When looking at spelling, like you said, we can see the number of items, and the number of items are just how many questions there were when it came to spelling. And then when we go across, we can see his raw score, which was 28. And raw score just means how many he got correct. So out of 35 questions, he got 28. 28 of those questions correct. And when we look over here, we can look at the national percentiles, and that's just going to be 68 right there.
68, that doesn't seem too good.
Oh, no worries. You don't have to worry about that. We're going to take a look at this here real quick. And this is a bell curve, and so like we said, he got 68 in the national percentile on the test. And if we look here at the bell curve, we're going to be focusing on this area here from 10 to 90. Right here you have the 50, that's just the median, which is the middle average. That's the average area right there. And we had said he got 68, which is right there, close between 65 and 70, close to 70. And it shows that he scored a little bit above the mean, which is really good. This just means that he scored 68% better than the 10,000 students who also took this test, which is really good. It just shows that he did good in his spelling. And I'll let you keep one of these. That way you can have it at home with you if you ever want to look at this again. Over here, we can see the scaled score, which is 548. And that's just, when we look at our bell curve again, that'll be this section 200 to 800. And again, average is the 500. And this score just means that his percentile, they created an average, and his score number was 548. So that means he was above average in his spelling in comparison to those other students again. So putting this away, we're going to look over here at his percentile bands. And the percentile bands show us that he scored past average over here as well. And this is really good because percentile bands show us the standard error of measurement. And the standard error of measurement just implies that no test is perfect, and it gives us a little wiggle room. So it considers like maybe the weather that day, how much sleep Alex got that day, if the vocabulary was a little wonky that day or on the test. So that's what it considers. And if we use this here, the -3, it's allotted error measurement with Alex's percentile on his score of spelling. And if he were to take this test every week, every day for a week, it would be between 63 and 71 percentile.
Okay.
Over here, did you have any more questions on the top portion?
No, that's a lot of information, though, but...
Okay, no, I understand, but we're halfway there, and if you feel comfortable with this part, would it be okay if we move on to the criterion reference information?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so on the bottom portion, like I said, this is the criterion reference information, and this tells us Alex's specific set of skills.
Okay, so what exactly is the criterion reference? What is...
Yeah, so that's a good question. The whole bottom section has its own list of skills and scores that will give us information on how a student performs on a specific standard or skill. And over here, we're not going to be comparing his skills to any other student like we did up here. This is just skills based on him as an individual. And in this part, we can see the portion has different subtests here as well. And is there any section on here that you want me to explain for you better?
Probably measurement, because it looks like he scored really low on it.
Sure. So when looking at this, we can see in the criterion referenced, it also has a raw score, and his raw score was 5. And then that's how many he got correct. And then here we have the number possible, which is 8. So that just means how many questions there were. So he scored 5 out of 8, which told us that he was low in that subject. This obviously just means there was 8 questions and he only got 5. That's not a very fair number to prove that he's poor or good in measurement. And I just say this because this test just shows a snapshot of Alex's skills. It's not specific to him as a person, but I say this just because Alex loves math, and in his math journal we can see how he does in measurement. And in math, when we work on measurement, he does really good. And although I don't rely heavily on how these scores show, I do want to show you his number facts. And with number facts, he got 8 correct out of 12. So I would just say suggesting working on him a little more with that. Do you spend any time working on multiplication facts?
Not really, to be honest. He's really stuck on his video games.
Oh yeah, okay. I've heard that before with other parents. But something that you can easily do to strengthen his number facts is just have a set of dice there for him. And y'all two can work on it with each other, like test each other, play after dinner or something, and just roll the dice. If you score 2 and a 4, you multiply those two numbers. And you can also do this with addition and subtraction as well. And then maybe when he gets higher up, try division with that.
Okay.
See how that works. But moving forward, I want to take a look and show you one of his stronger scores. And we can see that with his language. And in his language, you can see how his raw scores are really high. He had 11 out of 12. 10 out of 11, 10 out of 11, 10 out of 11, which all showed that he scored really high. And this is very evident in his writing. I see this in the writing we do in class, and his grammar is phenomenal. As you can see here, again, his scores were good.
Yeah, he writes a lot at home and he sends letters to grandma, and so this makes a lot of sense.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad he's engaged in his writing and he's doing well. Before we finish off, do you have anything you want to ask me?
Not right now. Not that I can think of.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad that we got to sit down and do this together.
Me too.
I will give you a copy of this,
Okay.
the bell score, or the bell curve and everything we went over. If you have any questions while you're at home, just give me a call or send me an email, and I'll be happy to go over it with you again, give you more information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
You too.